Hello, welcome to the second tutorial. And this tutorial, I'll be talking about Docker Compose. Just some things I left out from the last tutorial is that there are two types of Docker build environments. As you see, if you go to the setup for Docker, you might notice this instruction and be wondering what this does. This is Docker Build Kit, so it's a different kind of build. The difference between Docker Build Kit and the regular one is that it uses extensive uses of caching. The regular Docker build does not cache from other images as much as the Docker Build Kit. So advantage of it will build faster, but you are not able to go back to a certain image. And for example, I go back here. I can't like just go to stop here, and I go. Yeah, this only works in the regular Docker build. The Docker build kit does not do it. But the difference is Docker build kit allows you to um, cache from a different Docker image much better. So yeah. So let's go and start with the Docker Compose files. So we have a couple of Docker Compose files. The main one is here and here. Docker compose.yaml, it's written in YAML, and you have these YAML anchors. Okay, I just remember what they're called. These two YAML anchors tell me that if I want to use this piece of YAML stuff multiple times in different places, I can just go here, create an anchor called soccerbot, and then use these anchors here. So basically just copy paste all of this information in here and here. So because like the robots have the same information. Yeah, so what is a Docker Compose? It's just a tool for running your Docker, a regular Docker command. So previously Docker run-it, the image ID or name, and then bash. Image name ID becomes the image ID here. And bash is the command. Now we have several other things. We have build. What this allows you to do is you can just do Docker Compose build instead of Docker build dot. This will automatically tag the image after you finish building to this appropriate image, sends in these arguments and does this caching from that. Cap add, capabilities add, allows you to do debug tracing, and nice basically lowers the priority of some system processes. PID allows the whatever in the container to use the PID namespace of the host computer. Some security settings, and one important thing is volume mounting. So what I did here is basically what is on your what is in the Docker image versus what is on your actually no, what is in your PC versus what is in the Docker image. So basically it mounts this entire soccerbot folder into the Docker image. The reason why we do this is that if you change any Python code in the Docker image, it will automatically reflect when you do Docker Compose up, and you do not need to build the Docker image every single time. So this is on your computer. If, for example, we mount the dev folder, dev stands for devices. It allows you to attach the sound device on the Docker image to your PC, and sometimes there are other things that like serial ports and such. So let's go one by one. For example, this one Docker Compose file has a simulator image, which builds a Docker file inside here, and it has a whole bunch of mounts. Environment. I forgot to mention environmental variables. Um, so what is environmental variable? If you do m, that's environmental. That's all the environmental variables on the current bash session. If you do this inside a Docker container, it will add these additional environmental variables. These are useful. If I want to, for example, I can use os.getinf in Python. I can also use in the launch files. I can take advantage of environmental variables. Opt-env, for example, is optional environmental variable. So if the x position environmental variable is provided, then it will set the position of the robot to be whatever there. So for example, I can do spos equals 2, sets the x position to 2 in the robot. So very useful environmental variables. Okay, so the regular one is just a single robot. Dual has two robots for the same team. It's, for example, you see this extend keyword means it's inheriting the same properties from here, except it's changing the environmental variables. Like this is a different robot ID. Full is a full team, a 4v4. Game controller is just launches the game controller. Override is what automatically overrides this one here. So anything here gets automatically overridden here. Sometimes useful. Robots. This is the important one. This is the one for the actual robot. As you can see, there's different mounts, and the image is different. So we have 3 images, and one is the every time you push the master, you automatically build these 3 images: the ARM image, the Docker image, and the Weebots image. This is a simulator image. Yeah, so this is the it's on ARM architecture, so most computers are AMD 64, but this is ARM, because like small things like Raspberry Pis and such, they all use ARM architecture. So we use a different base image instead of the regular base image. Regular base image is on ARM AMD architecture, and this is ARM architecture. SBSA also stands for ARM. And this command you can feel free to change. For example, if I want to debug something, I can put sleep 100. This allows me to wait 100 seconds before it runs these other commands here. Yeah. And then we have 2 tests. Test Docker images, the regular one and then the kick. These ones are used only by the CI. You can also do Docker Compose. To run one of these special ones, you do Docker Compose -f, Docker Compose. You type the name of the file, .tests .yaml. These special, all of the ones that have test, use this file test integration. For example, this test game start is basically just sends the robot to start in the game. Also, the test ones don't have any UI, because we don't want any UI to run in the CI. But for example, if I run it normally, it will launch the Weebots and such, and that's how it works. Anyways, I think that's it for Docker Compose. Okay, the display variable is what display you have. So every computer has a display variable if it has a display. Column 1. In the CI, for example, the display is not there. Yeah, so you won't have this environmental variable. So if you have any tests that need to be different, whether or not you have a display, you can use this environmental variable. Yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you for listening.